All right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Girl, Is That Legal? This week, my two co host guests are going to be attorney Nicole, who you guys are familiar with, and the wonderful, beautiful attorney Lanina. Now, Lanina is a Florida based attorney who practices criminal and civil law. And I'm super excited to have her here this week so she can help break down both the Tory Lanez trial and what's going on with Gunna and how he was able to get released after 7 months, although he's alleging he didn't snitch. All right, so let's bring the ladies up. Hey, ladies, how's it going?
Hi, Simone.
Hey.
Hey, all right, let's get into it. Let's give people a moment to join. All right, hey, Brittany, Stephanie, Allison. All right, in the chat, feel free, drop those questions. We're really going to focus on the Tory Lanez trial this week because so much has happened with that one, So we're gonna get to that one last, but we're quickly gonna hit on some of the other hot topics in the law this week. And also in the chat, feel free if there's anything else that's happened this week that was interesting to you. Feel free to drop it in the chat, and if we can, we love to talk about it. All right, so here we go. So first up, let's see which one should we do first. Let's see which one should we do first. All right, let's talk about Miss Jessica Reed. Okay, so I'll set this up, and ladies, I'm gonna turn it over to you for the commentary, which is that Jessica Reed is a woman who has alleged that Charlemagne the God, the radio host, okay, that he R'd her back years ago. Actually, I think it was around like 2000. It was in the 1990s, maybe 1999. Well, it just came out this week per Tasha K, his arch nemesis, that Jessica Reed is suing both Charlemagne and iHeartRadio. I tried to pull some court documents, and I don't think that there are any, but the gist of it is they feel that, or that she feels that she's been defamed, and the way in which iHeartRadio has allowed Charlemagne to discuss the matter is as though he's innocent, because that's what a court of law determined, or at least the plea that he took was not to the R word. Now on that one, I'm going to turn it to you, Nicole, first. But part of what we wanted to discuss is I found it real interesting that the only outlet reporting on this is Tasha K, who has said many, many times just how strongly and how much she hates Charlemagne. So is this just a ploy to get Jessica to do Tasha K's dirty work since she clearly don't want to get sued again? What do y'all think? Nicole?
Well, okay.
Oh, yeah. Whoever. Go ahead, Nina. You can start.
Didn't it say something like she took it to the Supreme Court, though, or she's trying to get the Supreme Court to actually hear it?
Yes, she is. So part of me was wondering, okay, why is this coming back into the news? Well, that's because she actually had the audacity, Jessica had the audacity to file a complaint with the Attorney Discipline Committee for the state of South Carolina. Basically, she filed, which would be the equivalent of like a malpractice complaint with the state of South Carolina bar, claiming that the prosecutor did not do her job because the prosecutor did not basically force Jessica Reed to testify. And because the prosecutor did not pursue the case because Jessica Reed recanted. Well, Jessica was saying, well, I recanted because I was scared, and she should know that people who are scared but telling the truth do those kinds of things. And it was her responsibility to make me feel comfortable enough to testify. Girl, please. Nicole, if you were the prosecutor, what would you do?
One, I would hire an attorney to represent
That's a good
me.
answer.
Oh, you mean if you were Jessica? If you
No,
were Jessica Reed.
Because this just sounds like she's just trying to get some money from somebody because she's disgruntled still.
Disgruntled, yeah.
Charlemagne is making a lot of money from their story.
Mm-hmm.
And if the events that he's alleging is true, I mean, no one wants to hear about that years later, like, oh yes, my husband raped me when we were little, but now we're married
Mhm.
and we're still in
Try to
love.
say the R word just because YouTube, but go ahead.
Um, and it kind of makes her. She probably is triggered, and it like maybe she feels really embarrassed about it still.
Could be, could be. Nina,
Um,
I know now.
Tasha,
Nina was formerly a prosecutor in Florida, right, Nina?
no, I've never worked for the state.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I got it out the mud and hit the ground running. I've never worked
Wow.
for any like government agency or anything.
Okay.
But I have done a lot of criminal defense, and I'm pretty passionate about it. But I'm also picky. And ironically, touch them anything with kids or stuff like that, just because I like to, keep my palate clean and my moral compass cool at night. And it's anything with women and children sensitive. However, I do have the ability to view and see things from both sides of the coin on that one. Um, so as far as the prosecutor, first of all, this happened 17 years ago, right? From what I
Yes,
saw.
correct.
And she's coming back saying this now. I don't know so much to answer your initial question if it's Tasha K, her doing Tasha K's dirty work because she's going to the Supreme Court. So that's, I mean, given the amount
Well,
of time
no,
that's
in
passed by,
addition
that's
to
I
that,
guess what's
no,
necessary.
that's separate. That's separate. In
Oh,
addition to that, she's supposed to be suing him and iHeart specifically.
right. Okay.
I just think it's
Well,
silly.
the way, I mean, my thing on that one is if she if he did not end up doing a plea or they ended up dropping the charges or it was something like that that I saw that
Yeah.
occurred,
Yeah.
I more or
She
less
did
probably
not
feel like she
comply. She did not she wouldn't show up. She said she wouldn't show up. She kept changing her stories. And the prosecutor specifically said, if you're not going to show up, I can't prosecute this. She would not confirm that she was going to participate and assist in that. So the prosecutor didn't proceed with the charges.
she
So
can't get mad at the
he pled
prosecutor
to
for that.
something else. He pled to giving alcohol to a minor. That was what he ultimately pled to.
Okay. So ultimately, I don't really think that she has a grounds to sue the prosecutor for that one. The prosecutor
She's not
also
suing the
has,
prosecutor. She's suing the radio
oh,
station and Charlemagne the God. Okay.
but
And then
didn't you said she
separately,
reported something
she's filing a bar complaint against the
against
prosecutor.
the prosecutor.
Yeah.
So
Which
to
y'all, it
that
basically
point,
just means discipline. She's asking that they discipline the prosecutor. Mhm.
right. So I think as far as the bar complaint, towards the prosecutor, that's someone told her to do that to add more legs to her suit for, taking it to iHeart and against Charlemagne. I really don't think that the bar should hold the prosecutor accountable for that. They have a
Yeah, they
fiduciary
won't.
duty ultimately to not, yeah, to like they can't force someone to say stuff or it would almost be considered coercion. So if you're saying no or you're not
Right.
cooperating or if you were really passionate, they can't really be like, oh yeah, do it because then they'll lose their jobs for even doing that. Um,
Right.
they will. You can't just be like, oh yeah, go talk out against him because it's what I want you to say. I mean, if the
Mm-hmm.
person doesn't want to do anything, then they just don't. So I don't think the bar complaint against her should have any legs or go anywhere. As far as suing him
Yeah.
and our iHeartRadio, I'm guessing she wants to sue iHeart because of the topics and what he said regarding the R matter on
Yeah. And it
the
was on
station.
their station. But really he was simply defending himself.
Right. And I know he's also said a lot of different things. He says a lot because he speaks a lot. He has a book. Um,
Extremely
I
controversial.
never want to take away from a woman's actual what she may or may not have went through, whether it was recent or several years ago, because it's a sensitive topic, and as a woman, I get that. But at the same time, you know, it does seem like she should have maybe spoken out sooner, and I don't really think that it's gonna do anything to him, especially if they don't have like a long list of people to join it, kind of like the Me Too movement with everybody, where they had like massive people, or like R. Kelly, where even though it was several years later, girls came back, but it was so many. So if it's just her, she's isolated. I don't really think it'll go anywhere.
Yeah, and the Berkeley
And he better
County.
lawyer up. Shit.
Yeah, so you already
Excuse me,
know
I didn't mean to
Charlemagne.
curse.
Charlemagne he has his lawyers in tow, but they said that they are not reopening the case against him. So this is a total L for
Maybe
her.
she's just looking for hush money or something. Or maybe she's
Or
looking for spotlight. I don't know. I mean, I don't. When it
she
comes to the
maybe
R word, it's so sensitive. It's hard to call, you know?
it's just an unfortunate situation overall because for any
Yeah.
woman to do this, like she was saying,
And
this is their
it turns into those things too, because like, okay, was it a consensual act as far as she wanted to have sex with him, or was willing to, or was it an issue because of her age, which makes it like a statutory rape issue, or was it an issue because she was intoxicated, which makes it another consensual issue? And so those are all things that play into it. It could have been perhaps at the time that maybe she was intoxicated and regretted doing it, right? But then she still like consented to it, or may, you know, it could be so many things that could have occurred with that one. So that's pretty much my take.
Well, let's go over to the next topic. Gunna has been released, and some people have mixed emotions about his release because they're saying he is saying that he did not snitch after he took a plea deal in the YSL RICO case.
Absolutely. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry about that, guys. So something is going on with my computer camera, so I'm going to proceed from here. Yes, go ahead. So the YSL Gunna case. Go ahead. Do you think he snitched? And if he did, do we even care?
Who's coming after us if we're honest about how we answer this question?
Yeah.
Go for it.
I feel like anytime you're dealing with Fed anything, and this is a federal case, correct?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So
yes.
I feel like, and from my experience, ain't nobody getting off on no big charges of nothing. Drugs, anything that's going with the Feds, gang related, that's got, especially RICO, which is one of the biggest charges you can get, right? And walking, unless some kind of cooperation occurred. Now, unless the only way that wouldn't occur is maybe if they realize that they didn't have a case that big against him. But here's where that doesn't really seem true. The Feds, what I like to say, right? The Feds don't get you till they got you.
Oh,
so
elaborate.
Feds don't get you till they got you. They have like a 95% conviction rate.
Yeah.
And so if they brought them charges on you, they usually wait to collect enough evidence to be able to hammer you with it. They don't bring stuff. It's very rare that they'll move on something or someone. Yeah.
So let me set up what's happening. So Gunna's position is that he's not testifying against anyone else. He hasn't snitched, etc., etc. But here's a little excerpt from a local news station who had their cameras rolling in the courtroom. So let me play that for you guys. Just a second. Let's see if I can get that clip. Add that here. Can y'all hear it? Can you hear the sound?
He committed the crime, but acknowledges it's in his best interest to plead guilty.
If called by any party in this case, you will testify truthfully, but reserve any Fifth Amendment rights or privileges against self-incrimination. You agree to perform 500 hours of community service, a substantial portion of which will require that you speak to young men and women about the hazards and immortality.
So the part there that was important that I wanted you to see is that they specifically state that he has to agree to testify if needed. Well, his personal statement, and this is what he's standing by, is basically he's saying, my focus of YSL was entertainment. No artist who wrote and performed music that exaggerated or glorified urban life in the Black community. That YSL was entertainment. It was rap artists who wrote and performed music that exaggerated and glorified urban life in the Black community, and said, while I've agreed to always be truthful, I want to make it perfectly clear I have not made any statements, have not been interviewed, have not cooperated, have not agreed to testify or be a witness against any party in the case, and have absolutely no intention of being involved in the trial process in any way. All right. That, like you said, I think that's impossible. So that's pretty clear it's a lie. But also what's interesting is his attorney made a statement, and it sounds like his attorney is basically playing semantics, in that it's my understanding that in Georgia law, as it relates to criminal law, you cannot use one co-defendant's statements against the other without that co-defendant you can't use one co-defendant's statements against the other unless that person is going to get on the stand and testify. Now, in Florida, you can't use them. I was told that you can't use them at all. Is that correct, Lenina? That you can't use a co-defendant statement?
Yes, you can use co-defendant statements.
But it can't be oh my gosh, sorry.
Usually when they make a statement, though, they've already took a deal. And they'll appear as a witness on the witness list. That can't be the
only piece of evidence. You have to have more than just that, right?
From a criminal defense argument, I would say yes, you're right. But a lot of state attorneys bring cases where they got less than that. If they want you bad enough, it's not enough to put him in jail. I mean, they would have to figure out what to do with a jury and all that stuff. But I mean, that's what I was asking. Is this federal or is this just Atlanta?
It's federal. Georgia okay. Federal court. Well, you know what? Hold on. Yep. No, it was the prosecutor. No, it's state court. It is state court. I'm incorrect. Yeah.
Well, then that changes everything I said earlier.
Yeah, because the state laws are different than federal.
Right. Gotcha. Like the feds. So maybe he didn't talk. I mean, the likeliness of him talking would have been higher had it been federal versus state. Maybe he didn't. So I'm gonna throw that out there just to correct what I said earlier because I thought it was federal. But I don't know. I still don't think that. I think it would be dangerous for him to admit that he did snitch. I think he can't say that he did. I think his lawyer has to be on the same side. No one's gonna openly say that.
Right.
And no one's gonna ever open.
Yeah, these are thank you, Kenya from Cali confirmed. Yeah, these are state RICO charges. But yeah, I believe in Georgia, basically his statement alone can't be used. He would have to come on the stand as well if his statement is going to be used. Now, and also to be clear, he wasn't given immunity. He was given a deal. And his deal is that his sentence is 5 years. He's getting time served for 1 year. Now he's only been in there for 7 months, but how that works is local jail, like in Texas, if the time you are sitting in local jail, you get 3 days for every 1 day. So for every 1 day you're there, you get credit for 3 because the local jail is so disgusting and horrible and treacherous. So similarly, here, although he's been in for 7 months, they're giving him credit for 1 year, and the judge is suspending the other 4. So in effect, it's like being on parole. If he messes up, the judge can remove that suspension and make him go serve time. Yep. So I think
So is he on probation or no?
No, it's a suspended sentence for the other years. So he has some form of reporting to do.
Oh yeah, he's on probation.
What's that?
So he's going to be on probation.
He is on probation, or he's not?
He is. He will be.
Because
4.
Yeah.
Yes, 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if he's getting time served with no probation, then he's good to go.
No, because they said
Okay.
they're suspending my assumption is that the 4 suspended years he has to serve as a probationary thing. I could be incorrect though. I could be incorrect. Yeah. So that's Gunna. Now
Yeah,
let's
I'm not
move
sure either. I mean,
on.
it just happened today, so we'll get more details.
Right. Now let's move on to the case of the week, which is the Megan Thee Stallion case. So a lot has happened. So I'm going to do a quick summary, and then I'll definitely be checking the chat to here we go. Let me remove this one. I'll check the chat because we want to be able to answer as many questions as possible. There we go. So this week, some of the biggest bombshells this week were first Megan took the stand. When Megan took the stand, she confirmed that she was in a sexual relationship with Tory. It was behind Kelsey's back, and that Kelsey didn't find out about it until that day when they were discussing when the shooting had occurred. She also had a lot of amnesia for a variety of different facts. But the big bombshell this week was when Kelsey took the stand. And we're going to talk about what it means when you plead the fifth. But what was the hugest part of the bombshell this week is Kelsey took the stand and immediately took the fifth. Sorry. She used her right to plead the fifth. Now, here's the thing. This happened in front of the jury. And the jury knows you're pleading the fifth. They also know that you have been given immunity. They have to be told this, right? Because it goes to motive for why you're testifying as you are. Now, Tory Lanez' team, their whole defense is that Tory didn't do it, didn't shoot. Kelsey did. And what they're really relying on is the fact that there were only 2 people that had gun residue on their hands, Tory and Kelsey. And today, they really leaned into the theory because Kelsey was on cross-examination. They leaned into the theory that the 2 girls were fighting over the gun, that basically they were fighting over the gun. And they were in part fighting because Kelsey had just found out that he cheated on her. And in the course of them fighting, Kelsey admitted that she bumped Megan. Tory's team, their theory is the gun goes off when the 2 girls are wrestling. However, it doesn't change the fact that there's still the text message of Kelsey texting the driver saying, Tory shot Meg. So let's start with, who do y'all think did what? Do you think Tory did it? Start there, Nicole.
Yes, I do. I mean,
oh yeah, I do too.
Why? There's no way. I mean, that the story just has made a 180, and now Kelsey has a liquor infused amnesia plead the fifth theory. Like, come on, you know what happened. Like, you are on the stand. Like, don't perjure yourself over Tory Lanez, girl. What are you doing? This is your whole life you have ahead of you.
Purging herself over that $1 million. Shit. That's what she perjured herself
But let's talk about that. Do we think she's really perjured herself, or has she strategically been using I don't remember?
Well, and a little mix of that.
She's strategically.
Yeah. Lenina, how hard is it to get someone for perjury when they rely on phrases like I don't remember or I plead the fifth? Start with I don't remember.
It's it's very hard because she's not being direct and she's being very indirect. Okay.
Okay.
She's lacking a lot of candor. So I actually feel like the way I would love to be on this case, actually.
Right.
One on either side. I think it would be awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like the way her and Tory Lanez are playing this is very well played.
Yes.
And probably the best way they could have played it for what actually occurred. Because the way that they're doing it is it gives enough reasonable doubt for him to get off, and it's enough for her not to get in trouble for herself. So then if that's the case, then they both win. and
Yeah.
they're both okay. And they both walk, which I don't know how I feel about Tory. I think he's more concerned about that gun charge because isn't he a felon? And they said it
I
was a
believe
semi-automatic or
so.
something. A lot of,
I believe so, but I feel like we got a
yeah,
lot of
those gun
co-counsel in
charges
the
are no
chat.
good when you're a felon.
No, I don't think he has it. No, it's not a felon charge because he would have had more difficulty performing and playing in America. But California is super strict on just possession of guns. You really, in California, you can only have it in your house. Having it in your car unlicensed the way that they have is a separate offense there too. So Kenya from Cali writes, it can't be Tory without a doubt if Kelsey has gun residue on her hands. So my theory of what truly happened is that Tory shot, and then when they heard the police were coming, he was like, oh fuck, I can't be caught with this. Well, the only broke person in the car is Kelsey. So pass the gun to the brokey. Pass the gun to brokey. She has the least amount to use. So I could see him handing it to her and her putting it in her purse or her, bra. I don't know how big the gun was. Her bra, she has big old titties, or whatever the case may be. But I could see it was Tory had the gun first. He hands it off to Kelsey. Kelsey hides it because I don't know that they have recovered the gun yet. But I want to hear what theories you guys have in the chat too. But also let me know, who do you think somebody shot Meg? Who do you think? And when by shot, I do think they shot like down towards the ground because she got fragments. They confirmed today it's fragments, not actual bullets. If she had been shot, it would have been bullets, but it was fragments because they think that someone shot towards the ground and they popped into her leg. Chandra writes, I would hate to ever have a friend like that. I would still tell the truth. Even if a friend did something bad to me, she has no character or morals. But Chandra, do you feel like, and Nicole too, do you feel any different with the fact that Meg went out of her way to drag Kelsey and make Kelsey come across as a liar? So by Kelsey supporting Meg's version of the facts, basically making Meg look honest, gives credence to the lies Meg told about her. What would you do, Nicole?
If I were a juror,
I'd be so hot.
Or if I was which one? Kelsey?
Yeah, if you were Kelsey. I'll give you a second to think about it. Lenina, were you able to hear?
No, because I had a bad my signal.
No problem. So what we were talking about is Chandra made the good point, and Chandra was saying, I tell the truth regardless, even if I wasn't friends with Megan anymore. But would it change your mind, or would it impact your level of loyalty when you consider the fact that Meg went out of her way to lie on Kelsey, and that by making Megan look like an honest person, you're giving credence to the lies she told about you? Basically, Kelsey does not have an incentive to make Meg look honest.
What lies did Meg on Kelsey?
Oh, but here's the thing: like, how bad was the lie? Like, I mean,
it was a variety. It was that Kelsey wasn't loyal. She wasn't a good friend. That Kelsey was the one messing with men that Megan was with, even though it was completely the opposite. And then Meg sicked all of her, her followers, her millions and millions of supporters on Kelsey. Kelsey was getting death threats. She was getting all kinds of threats, and her life was literally made a living hell. And
so here's my question. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it. No.
Oh,
I thought the Stallion was dating Tory, though. Wasn't she publicly?
It was the opposite.
They were in a relationship. Everybody knew it, though, I thought, right?
No, she testified that she met Tory and said, Tory, I think you would be good for my homegirl, and told Kelsey the same thing, introduced the two of them, and encouraged them to date. And then when Kelsey went home, I think Kelsey had COVID. When Kelsey went back home to Texas to recover from COVID, she began messing with Tory behind her back.
But no, what I'm saying is I could have sworn in public, like just to everybody, weren't they openly dating? Like
Not to
common
my
news,
knowledge,
like everybody
no.
knows Tory and
No, they were just friends.
okay. Well then
They were friends, and he
okay,
was flirty. And as we can see now, he's pretty flirty with everyone. But yeah, no, they weren't dating. Yeah, they were. No, let's start
I
talking.
think that.
Go ahead.
I think
Go for
that
it.
I don't feel like those lies are strong enough. Some of the history of what I was looking at is, wasn't that her assistant for several years and her best friend?
Yes, they're best
just
friends.
because someone's not loyal to you,
Yes.
doesn't necessarily mean you should be doing them dirty. Or just because someone lies on you doesn't mean you lie on them. Or
Yeah.
if all of this, oh boy, bro, like your friend or whoever got shot up, could have ended her career. She's known for dancing. She's known for this stuff. She could have had an artery or something go left and die. So I don't really, this is me personally, feel like or care about like, oh, you lied on me and blah, 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 bullshit over a dude that's fucking everybody, excuse my French, versus like somebody I once really cared about for years. I'm going to still look out for her. So I agree with one of our commentators.
Yeah. Well, also, how do we feel about the fact that Tory Lanez paid for Kelsey's lawyers? That is genius. I feel like that was genius.
It's genius. Either that or that's what they said to try to offset.
No, she admitted it on the stand.
Like
Kelsey
why
on
I said
the
what
stand.
I said earlier. Oh, okay. That's kind of like what I said earlier. Like I feel like they're playing this very well for both of them to get out, because if he paid for the attorney, you can bet your bottom dollar he's controlling how it plays out. And the only way that they can overcompensate for that dang on text she sent, which I think is very compelling, for like your present moment thoughts, right? He can control that attorney if he's paying the attorney, essentially, to an extent. Like, okay, this is the game plan. You're going to go up and say you don't remember nothing, say you had too much alcohol, and you're going to plead the fifth.
Oh, you're breaking up just a little bit. Okay, well, if you freeze, Lee, come on back, girl. We need to hear this.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We can hear you
so
now.
My bad. Damn, where was I? Okay, so basically, like the attorney can kind of control that duration and how it's going to play out for everybody. So the way that they're going about it, genius. The fact that he paid for the attorney, he has total control over how it plays and trying to put both of them in a position where they both walk, basically.
Yeah,
and I
absolutely.
guess they feel like that's better. They don't care what that does to Megan. They feel like that's better, so neither one of them can avoid jail.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and
both
Kenny from Cali
avoid jail.
Added the point. She said the security guard and Kelsey both testified to Meg jumping on Kelsey that night too, as in they got in a fight and Meg hit her. So again, all of this, and remember, this was the last time that Meg and Kelsey spoke. After this, Kelsey moved out of the house, and basically they were not friends anymore because Kelsey felt like, you know what, enough is enough. But somebody said, how don't you know who paid for your lawyer? She looks crazy. She absolutely does.
Yeah, she does.
Look crazy. And so Love Angel said she got paid off. And what I think is so the gamesmanship was really great. And someone was asking me, like, did Tory's attorneys basically prep Meg and talk to Meg? They may have spoken to her, but I can guarantee they didn't tell her what to say, because this wouldn't be worth losing your career, right? But more than likely, what happened is this is how this stuff happens. Tory says to his lawyer, well, hey, man, Kelsey needs a lawyer. I know she's broke. That's why I gave her the gun. I want to pay for her lawyer. Can I do that? And the lawyer says, yeah, no problem. He said, you know what? I got this homeboy. It's going to be, $100,000. We'll use my homeboy. Well, because what happens then? Him and his homeboy are going to talk. They will prep. By them talking to each other, they can prep and get everything ready, get the testimony consistent, etc., without ever having to talk to each other's clients. Also, what you say to your attorney is strictly attorney-client privilege. They can't even ask you on the stand. That is why when Kelsey took the stand, they could not ask her about any conversations she had with the lawyer that Tory paid for her, right? You can't even do that. And yes, and Kelsey did say she wasn't paid by Tory, but that doesn't mean she didn't receive things of value, which she did, with such as the attorney.
Good point.
But more than this, remember, your testimony is only of that day. So I believe she hasn't gotten paid yet. Because he may say, if I beat this, I'm going to run you some money. Because guess what? Once he beats it, it's a wrap. Once he beats it, they can never, ever charge him for this again. And he's only going to have the money if he beats it. Right. His tours, oh my gosh, they're going to sell out. He's going to do all these interviews. Everybody's going to want him on their live. He's going to get endorsement deals that he lost, everything. So she's going to get paid after he wins, and he will win. I don't know. Does that kind of make more sense, y'all? So yeah, she doesn't get paid today.
Makes a lot of sense.
She's finna get paid later. Now, Nina, as a criminal attorney, if she gets paid after the fact, it's my understanding there's no liability for that because she technically didn't lie on the stand. On the stand, she says, I haven't been paid. Could they run back and charge?
There's so many loopholes.
That's what I thought.
Nah.
Yeah.
There's so many loopholes with stuff. And that's the right way to do it if you really want to know.
Bam.
It's to create gray. It's to create loopholes. It's to create questions. It's to create doubt. That is the right way to do it. It's to fog it up. It's to confuse it. It's to make someone need glasses. If you need glasses, you can't convict, right? If the glove don't fit.
Oh, that's so smart. That's such a cute way
they're
to explain
playing
it. They really are.
They're playing it very well, but I still feel like that text message is like, I feel like somebody. I feel like somebody.
The text
should
message.
do something. I don't think this is right.
For a mistrial.
I like Meg.
I too.
I like Meg. I don't feel like somebody should. I don't feel like this should just go. This should walk. Like.
But I think it's at a minimum going to get a mistrial. And I'll go a step further. If there's a mistrial, I think the prosecutor is going to be so sick of every goddamn body involved in this case, they're not going to charge him again. What do you think, ladies? You think if there's a mistrial, whether the prosecution will try and retry this?
It would have to be on a technicality. But just on, I don't know. Kelsey might be gone.
She might take her money and run to Africa or wherever else. Yeah, someone made a good point. Kelsey has damaged the significance of the text message by saying she's lied continuously. I think the text message is the strongest evidence. But at the end of the day, because it's the burden of the prosecution, right, to kill that reasonable doubt, and it just does not seem like they have successfully done that. I know Nina has to go soon, but I just wanted to speak real quickly. I wanted to talk real quickly about pleading the fifth before we go. And with the question being, why might Kelsey plead the fifth? I want to see your comments in the chat. Why do you think she may have pled the fifth? Nicole, I have a theory, but I want to hear any ideas you might have, Nicole.
Because she knows that something is going to, and they have another witness, and she doesn't want like these text messages. I'm just reading these text messages now. Now I see what you guys are saying about these text messages. Yikes.
So I think, okay, with the pleading the fifth, right? It's usually done because you want to make sure that you're not going to be held liable for something. So my hypothesis because it's an educated guess, is that she might be worried. I think that she did have the gun after it was shot, whoever shot it. And I don't believe they've retrieved the gun. But either way, I think the concern is possibly being labeled an accessory after the fact. Because we know she had the gun because she had gun residue on her hand. So I think that's the real reason she's pleading the fifth. I do not think that it's because she I don't think it's because she did it. I don't think she shot Meg at all.
No, she definitely
didn't. That was it. But I think in their strategy, they knew that by saying, hey, maybe it was Kelsey, maybe, just by saying maybe it was Kelsey, just having her get on that stand and plead the fifth is strong enough to create sufficient reasonable doubt that you're at least going to get a hung jury. Somebody says, at this point, they're acting like Casper shot Megan. Well, that was my thing too. I'm like, okay, well, if they're saying Tory didn't do it, then yeah, who are they claiming did? And so when I heard that they're throwing all types of theories out there, but I think that the pleading the fifth, I think she probably realistically is concerned that she could be on the hook for accessory after the fact. This is prior to her getting immunity, and that is likely why she wanted that immunity.
But now, since she has immunity, like I wouldn't. I don't.
And Monique is saying that the eyewitness said that the flash went off closer to Kelsey than to Tory. And remember, Meg's version is that it was just Megan and Tory near each other. However, Kelsey's version is that all three of them were over there arguing, fussing, and fighting, and then the gun had gone off. Somebody's saying they didn't say anything. No, by they, I'm talking about Tory's defense. Tory's defense has spoken, and his defense has specifically said the things that I articulated, because remember, we had the opening statements. So it was in the opening statements that they laid out, each side laid out their theory. No, Tory has not. And Tory has not taken the stand. If he's going to, he will be the last person to do so when it turns over to the defense side. But at this point, I would not let his little behind get up there and muck up what has already been so good. Previously, a lot of people were saying, oh, yeah, they should let him get up there and he'll really bring it on home.
Absolutely.
But I think, no, don't put that man up there.
No, it's working really good for them right now. Everything. Yeah,
leave it alone. Leave it alone. He will only muck it up if he gets up there, because he's gonna have to get up there. He would have to get up there and lie. He would have to get up there and lie. Well, I hate Lenina wasn't able to come back. I know she had. Let me see. Oh, there she is. Okay, hold on. Hey, Nina, let me get you. Hey, Nina.
Hey, I've been talking. I'm like, can y'all hear me? Can y'all?
Oh, sorry. Okay, listen. I really wanted to hear your theory on this part as well, related to pleading the fifth. Many people have asked, why is it that Kelsey didn't plead the fifth to everything? Why is she picking and choosing what she answers? Can you speak to that and explain?
It's so strategic. It's very, very, I'm going to keep saying it. Like on the defense side, I got to give kudos when I see it. It's well played. She's only pleading the fifth to stuff that would put either of them in jail. And then saying enough to make it seem like she's credible. She's saying enough to give her enough reason to be on the stand, right? Because if her whole testimony was a plead the fifth, why are you even on the stand? I would have said, well, if she's not going to say anything, because I don't know whose witness she was. That's what I was trying to ask you guys when I was.
She's the prosecution's witness.
She's the state's witness.
That's why it's a problem.
That didn't play. That didn't. That's not good. That's great for the defense that the prosecution's witness. So okay.
Yeah. And y'all, the reason why it's great is because
she wouldn't have been able to take the stand if she was going to say plead the fifth on everything. Mm-hmm.
Well,
their own witness. Yeah, the defense attorney is going to get up there and say their own witness doesn't know anything, because that's what.
Yeah, but it's. But I thought that if you have immunity, Yeah, but Nina, if you have blanket immunity like she has here, aren't you required to testify? Like, how is she able to plead the fifth even though she already has immunity? I thought pleading
because we don't know.
immunity.
Wait a minute, we don't know what her immunity consists of. Huh? Wait, I got people trying to come up to the car, and we don't.
It was supposed to be blanket immunity for anything.
Okay, because I was arising. Okay.
Yeah, blanket immunity for anything arising out of this case, generally, not just from her words, but from the incidents that gave rise to this case. So that's why I'm not understanding why they're even allowing her to plead and not answer the damn questions, because generally pleading the fifth is only where there's a case that you could be tried. Go ahead.
So you can plead the fifth anytime you want. No one can say, oh, you can't plead the fifth, even whether you have immunity or not. What I feel like might have happened here is that the defense attorneys, Tory's, and then as well as her attorney, Kelseys, I feel like they pulled like a fast one on the state. I feel like the state thought that they were going to put her on the stand, and they thought that it was going to be great. That's why they gave her immunity, and they were going to put her on the stand, and she was going to say what they needed to get that conviction. But then when she got on the stand, she switched it up and just started saying, I don't know nothing. I don't remember nothing. I don't know nothing. I don't remember nothing. Oh, and by the way, I do remember this part, but nothing else. And it's actually brilliant, because now that she's on the stand, it's screwing their case.
That is exactly what happened.
Like when you can take a state witness and get them on your side, but have the state not see it coming.
Yeah, get them to flip.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, she totally flipped on them.
I've done that myself. That's why I know. It's impressive. Like, I have y'all's witness is really my witness, but you think it's y'all's witness.
She used the
I love it.
Think that she was depressed. She gets triggered by this. She doesn't want to be here.
Bullshit.
This and this postpartum. And she went in there Wednesday morning, requested immunity. It was granted, and then got on the stand. Fifth.
And there's another issue: the fact that she was just given immunity right before. There was no hearing in between. There was no like put in the chambers, or there was nothing, no discussions being had. So to me, that was like a surprise element as well. So everything about her appearance, everything about what she did, how they're handling it, was all
okay. There we go. Can you hear me?
Don't be surprised by this. Don't be surprised by this either. Everybody might be in cahoots. Millions and millions of dollars on the table. You know, everybody might be in cahoots with all of this because of the way it's playing out.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I definitely don't think the state thought it was going to play out like that, or they would have never made her a witness and called her on the stand anyway.
Exactly. So that's also why I feel like, so sorry about that, guys, but that's also why I feel like they absolutely, if they get a mistrial here, a mistrial is going to be as good as a win, because they're not going through this again. They have just been way too embarrassed. Yeah. So Kenya said, I got chills. I can only imagine how the attorneys feel watching this masterpiece. Yeah. Somebody said this chat is much smarter.
Play on the word masterpiece.
Genius.
I love it.
Uh-huh. So you actually, Ellen, you know what? Let me clarify. I need to confirm that. I know that they rejected use immunity, but it was my understanding that they came back and said she needs complete immunity, but it was my understanding that they did in fact grant that. I'm going to double check though, but because she wasn't going to take the stand at all without that. So they had really pushed them into that corner. So that is why
it was well played.
It was very well played. And mark my words, if I have more time, I bet you I can find photos of Tory's lawyer and Kelsey's lawyer playing golf at the bar.
It's so well played.
Those are buddies.
But I want to bring this up, Simone.
Go for it.
I want to bring this up. I've done research, but not the kind of research I would do, like obvious if it's my case. What were his actual charges though? It wasn't like it wasn't attempted murder, it wasn't like
No.
manslaughter, like wasn't anything, wasn't it just discharge of a firearm, and like having a firearm illegally or something?
Yeah, it was
Wasn't even like his
discharge.
charges were as bad as people might think.
Yeah, it was discharge. It was illegal use, and there's a third one. I can't recall, but it's not attempted murder. Some people were saying, why wasn't he charged with attempted murder? Actually, attempted murder is a very difficult charge because you have to be able to show that someone wanted to end someone's life. It doesn't, yeah.
And then when the state overcharges, sometimes they don't get a case.
The third is discharging a firearm with gross negligence.
Got you. Okay, so I see here Monique has stated that she received use immunity, which is what I recalled. And it said on the record she will not be charged for any crime related to this case, which is like blanket immunity. But wisely, her attorneys probably said, you know what, if y'all aren't willing to put it in writing, then we are not going to proceed as though, you know, you're honoring that, because you can't trust the last person you can trust is a prosecutor. And in these kind of cases, especially where you've humiliated them. So, well, thank you, ladies. Was there anything you wanted to end on? Any topics related to this suit that you wanted to end on, Lanita? I know you have an event to attend.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Thank you for having us. I appreciate it. I like what you're doing here. You're doing your damn thing. So I want to give a shout out to you first and foremost.
Oh, thank you
for being a bad boss bitch. Okay. Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you.
So thank you for having me. I love stuff like this, so I love to talk about it, and it's good for you to open the channels. And thank you. And then, like, if some other turns come, let's hit this topic again, because it's very juicy.
Let's do it. Oh, and also, you guys, if you you or a loved one in Florida are in need of criminal representation, or if you're injured, reach out to Lanina. Lanina's firm is called Hurdle and Hughes. Hurdle and Hughes, and give me your link, and I'm going to drop it in the description below. As well, thank you so much, Nicole. I really appreciate you. Nicole's under the weather, yet she is a trooper.
Love it. She is a trooper.
Thanks for having me, Simone.
Yes. All right, guys. So we need to do this again soon. I'm just going to keep following me on Instagram. It's at Attorney Simone. I want to go live on there soon too. So when you guys get time, just text me and we can go live on there too to talk.
That'll be fun.
All right. Talk to you guys soon.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Good night, ladies.